the life of the believer at the moment of the millennial reign. And they will reign to be a part of this royal priesthood. And then it tells us about the rest of the dead. Those who are dead will be brought back. This is a weird moment, I get it. But they are brought back to come and align with Satan for the one last final battle. And one last final judgment. So, if you've noticed this theme within Revelation so far, it is this building up on each other. It is this system in which we are, I should respond to that, because if you just saw it come up there, that was a church member texting right now about us having our men's breakfast, and Gene, you're paying. Do you know that? We're going to Jack's on December 13th. And Gene, oh no, you're bringing us all a gift. So now we know what Steve Lashley's doing. Texted during Bible study. Remind me to give him a hard time about that, right? He gives everybody else a hard time. Hold on. I want to respond real quick. Saying, hey, we're having Bible study. Can we do this later? Watch this. Missing you all at Bible study. Everyone here says hi. Hi. Send. That will be funny. I've waited for that moment for about 1.5 years when I could finally have something on them to do. So there you go. So the rest of the dead, they'll face the ultimate judgment here. And this leads us then to 20, verse 7 through 10. Satan is released. He's defeated and punished. It says this, when the 1,000 years are completed, Satan will be released from his prison and go out to deceive the nations at the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them for battle. Their number is like the sand of the sea. They came up across the breadth of the earth and surrounded the encampment of the saints, the beloved city. Then fire came down from heaven and consumed them. The devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet are. And they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. I think, again, we have these movements where, first of all, the movement is Satan is released. That's verse 7. Now, what's interesting here is the release of Satan is not a moment of victory for Satan, but it's actually a part of God bringing forth this final moment of judgment. And it's going to be a beautiful moment, a terrifying moment at the same time. But Satan is released, and when he's released, it's not instantaneously over. What's going to occur is Satan is released, and guess what Satan does? He goes right back to what he's doing before. In fact, it tells us he goes back to doing what he did before, and it says he deceives the wicked. Now, here's what's fascinating to me. The wicked have already experienced some of the wrath of God, right? He's brought them back so they can face the final death. And instead of coming to the place and saying, no, we believe, guess what they do? They fall for Satan's deception again. And they're now under his power again. This is the moment as it's all about to come to this final moment, because all of a sudden the battle takes place. And when the battle takes place, God wins, Satan is defeated, and there is no more battle. Now, God wins. What does that mean? Very simple. We know it means that ultimately he has victory that can never be taken away. Satan is defeated. What does that mean? He is defeated once and for all and will never be released again. Will never deceive again. Which leads us to this moment in chapter 20, which I tell people is a moment that should really be motivational and terrifying and joyful all at the same time. It's because it is the final judgment. And this is what John said. Then I saw a great white throne and one seated on it. Earth and heaven fled from his presence, and no place was found for them. I also saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged according to their works by what was written in their books. Then the sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them. Each one was judged according to their works. Death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And anyone whose name was not written in the book of life was thrown into the fire. Verse 11 simply tells us that God is on his throne. The throne room is this moment of beauty and majesty and fear and trembling at one moment. It is Isaiah's moment. I mean, think about Isaiah when he has just the vision to be in the presence of God. And he sees the seraphim, and he sees all of this going on. And just even in a vision, he falls before the Lord and is basically pleading for his life, because he says, "Woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips who lives among a people of unclean lips." If we go, he really says, "Woe is me, for I am undone." And if we really know what that means, it means he's saying, "Woe is me, because in the presence of the holiness of God, before the judgment seat of God, I deserve death." That is a little bit of a foretaste of what that may look like. Because it's not just receiving the judgment, it's the recognition of what you deserve. It's the recognition of that. Now, unlike Isaiah, where Isaiah, we are told that the angels go and they take this coal off the fire and they touch his lips. And he is renewed, he's restored, he is made worthy to be in the presence of God at that moment. There is none of that opportunity, because God is on the throne, and this is the final moment of all of this. And it says the dead are judged. Now, what are they judged according to? They're judged according to their wicked deeds. Now, what's interesting is we find out what the metric is. The metric is your name in the book of life? That's the metric. That's an amazing metric. Because it doesn't say that they were judged based on if they did good things or bad things or what